Yeah, sorry to rush, but YouTube tells me I have about 15 seconds before 30% of you ditch this video. Things you should know this month. All 6 seasons of Teen Wolf are available now on Roku channel for free with adverts. You don't have to sign up, just go to RokuChannel.com and start streaming. Streaming numbers are a huge motivator for those in power to bring us Teen Wolf Season 7. I'm told executives at Viacom CBS have already mentioned Teen Wolf among the dozens of shows they're looking to bring back for Paramount Plus in the next year. It's not much, just a single mention thrown out in a brainstorming session, but it's more than we had before. Keep the positive pressure on by streaming Teen Wolf episodes every day on Hulu, Amazon Prime, the Roku channel, or wherever the show is available in your country. And as I feared, the Federal Trade Commission is going to drag Amazon through a complex series of reviews that will stretch into 2022. This is going to slow down the takeover of MGM Studios even more. And saying this will kill my viewing numbers, but that's it for new information. I'll now spend several minutes explaining more details, but this is the gist for those too impatient to dig deeper into the whys and wherefores. I do monthly updates on changes in the entertainment industry that could lead us to getting a Season 7 of Teen Wolf, but usually I just do fun videos exploring the canon and nostalgia for the show. Subscribe and hit the bell to be notified weekly when I post new material. What follows is a recap for new folks. You can skip ahead to this time code to skip the recap and get to the latest dirt that I've managed to dig up. Our Teen Wolf universe is owned by Viacom CBS and MGM Studios. They no longer have a deal with each other to make new episodes of Teen Wolf, and nothing can be done with the Jeff Davis universe until a new deal is struck between these two companies. That's been the stalemate for years. Things looked bleak for the possibility of a Season 7 until this spring. That's when Viacom CBS launched their new streaming platform, Paramount Plus. It's a service with a bunch of old shows, some new SpongeBob, Star Trek spinoffs, and a bunch of stuff you can already get on free TV. It's all right as far as it goes, but they don't have much that's likely to entice people to pay $10 a month. So the company that owns MTV and half of the Teen Wolf IP now finds itself in desperate need of new shows. At nearly the exact same moment, the other half of the Teen Wolf equation, MGM Studios, went on sale, and Amazon's Jeff Bezos jumped in with nearly $9 billion to buy the name and the roughly 4,000 franchises and standalone movie titles that MGM currently owns. Amazon plans to pump up their Prime Video streaming service with the MGM library. That includes James Bond, RoboCop, and Teen Wolf. This is good news for fans of the Scott McCall pack, because both of the companies that share ownership of Teen Wolf are now in need of new content and are looking to create new shows based on their existing intellectual property. Okay, now I'm up to the new information that I found out this month. First and most importantly, I'm told that Teen Wolf is finally on the executive radar at Viacom CBS. To be fair, they're looking at all of their in-house IP for potential streaming shows to feed Paramount Plus.
1, can't miss content. 2, a portfolio of incredible brands. And 3, near universal distribution. And great content always wins. Hits are hits, and we know how to make hits.
Viacom CBS knows how to make hits.
But a month ago, we did not know Teen Wolf was among the shows being seriously discussed, and now we do. So that is a very cool thing. It probably won't lead to much, because I don't think MGM can make a new deal with Viacom until after the Amazon sale is finalized. I might be wrong about that, but it's how I understand Amazon's agreement to purchase MGM that was announced back in May. So unless it's like the last days of Rome over at MGM with executives just throwing out deals as they wait to be fired, Viacom CBS folks can talk, but they can't get anywhere with Teen Wolf beyond that. Of course, just knowing that the people in charge are talking about Teen Wolf is very exciting. That has not been the case for years and marks a huge change in attitude at the network. The fact that it can't go anywhere until the Amazon sale is done is disappointing, but what's that old saying about executives wanting what they can't have? Well, Viacom wanting more Teen Wolf right now is a great thing. I will keep my ear to the ground in case anything changes on that front, but for now, we're just waiting for the purchase of MGM to pass federal review. And that's going to take a minute. The United States Federal Trade Commission is headed up by career Amazon hater Lina Khan, and she is using the MGM purchase as an excuse to do a deep dive into Jeff Bezos' entire operation. Despite Amazon's many corporate sins, there is nothing in the purchase of MGM alone that should trigger the antitrust law and stop this deal. It does not create a monopoly since there are literally half a dozen competitors for Amazon's streaming business that already own movie studios and large catalogs of intellectual property. But to stop this deal, to interfere in Amazon's attempts to be more competitive, to set in stone what is a streaming status quo where the market is dominated by just a couple of huge players, would be the antithesis of the FTC's mission statement to prevent anti-competitive business practices that could harm consumers. But the current people in power in the United States are not going to let pesky facts or the appearance of hypocrisy get in the way of punishing those mean old tech giants whenever they get the chance.
Significant market consolidation deprives consumers, workers, and independent businesses of choice, further enabling dominant firms to engage in unfair practices.
So the MGM sale is delayed into next year at the earliest. Eventually, I think ownership of the Teen Wolf IP will end up at either Viacom CBS or Amazon because the current licensing deal model that they're using just won't work very much longer. That would mean either Jeff Bezos or Bob Bakish would be our new alpha of alphas, and there are pros and cons in either case. Bakish has been behind the curve and slow to react to the changing face of television. Instead of being a bold innovator, he seems to be programming his streaming service for the rapidly vanishing pool of viewers who still only watch network television. A bit of a window into the Bakish regime came last month when they did a huge deal with the guys behind South Park. Now, I love South Park, but the only reason this deal made headlines is due to the price. Again, love the show, I watch every episode of South Park, and it can still be brilliant at times. But it is only valuable to Bakish because it is one of the few Comedy Central shows that still does well on linear television. He doesn't actually see the potential in what his company has and is too tied to the old ways of doing business to realize that those old ways are not really compatible with the disruptive forces at play in the industry. Bezos is one of those disruptive forces. He literally built an online bookshop into the world's largest retailer. If he were to place the necessary resources into the streaming side of his business, instead of just offering it as a supplement to a free shipping subscription, Prime Video would quickly become a must-have service. Between the two, I'd prefer Bezos, but I would truly rather someone younger and hungrier than either of these two be in charge of the Teen Wolf IP. The potential for storytelling in that universe is deep, and the audience for those types of stories have aged now into the most attractive demographic. But we are stuck with either Bezos or Bakish. It's a toss-up as to which one will get control of Teen Wolf, but one thing is for sure. The current system of shared licensing cannot continue. Not only is it outdated, it makes it impossible to effectively exploit individual properties and build a genuine franchise. To recap, all 6 seasons of Teen Wolf are now available on Roku Channel for free with adverts. You can stream it on your Roku device or a computer to let the powers that be know that you want more Teen Wolf. The show came up in at least one meeting of the higher-ups at Viacom CBS this month, and the MGM sale to Amazon will not go through until 2022 at the earliest. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time we go back to Beacon Hills.